What's his name? Cusco! That's his name! He's the king of the world! Is he hippo what? Yeah!
No! You threw off my groove!
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
The legend of the Ayar brothers tells the story of how the Incas believed their society was formed. The Ayar brothers were the 4 sons of the sun god Inti, and they traveled over the Picaratambo mountain with their wives. The oldest and strongest brother, Ayar Kachi, created thunder by shooting his slingshot into the sky. His younger brothers, being jealous of this ability, trapped him in a cave on the now sacred mountain Pecorina. Angry at the betrayal, Ayar Kachi yelled so loud it opened the mountain and shook the sky. The 3 remaining brothers continued on their journey, and another brother, Ayar Uchu, became lost as they traversed the sacred mountain Huana Kuyure. After challenging a stone idol, Ayar Uchu was himself turned stone, but before he was fully changed, he told his remaining 2 brothers to continue their journey and celebrate an adulthood ceremony known as Huara Chico. Not finding success, the 3rd brother, Ayar Aka, grew wings and flew over the mountain, and upon landing also turned to stone. The 4th and final brother, Ayar Manco, then settled alone in the mountains and began the settlement known as Cusco for their father and god. This myth, present even without a writing system, shows just how important it was to the Inca that they began their society in such a specific spot. They settled in one of the most unique places to ever house a civilization. The Inca civilization in the 1400s was at the height of its expansion and spread 2,500 miles north and south down the western coast of South America through the Andes Mountains. The Inca Empire is still the largest Native American state to have ever existed. Around 13,000 BCE, the ancestors of the New World settled in the mountainous terrain and learned a new way of life. They developed new techniques in architecture and technology, unique to their environment and culture. What we know of their technology and sophistication is compelling evidence that their society was one of the most advanced of their time.
The architecture of the Inca is the most significant in South America. Different styles of Inca architecture are found in each region of the Inca Empire. Buildings were often made out of stones, called field stones, which are collected from fields where they naturally occur. Intricate marks on these stones tell us they were shaped into trapezoids by a pounding method. In some regions, these stones were stacked together by the use of different types of mud, while in other regions the stones were stacked so tightly together it was impossible to even put a piece of hay or a needle between the cracks, and there was no need for mud as mortar. In both cases, the buildings are known to be extremely resistant to earthquakes. 3 major Inca cities, Machu Picchu, Sacsayhuaman, and Ollantaytambo, all have different regionally specific architectural features. One of the best examples of Inca architecture lies in the abandoned city of Machu Picchu. The buildings had a rectangular structure with trapezoid doors and windows, while the city of Sacsayhuaman had walls made of gray limestone, which were shaped in such a way where each building fits together like a puzzle. In both cities, the stones were put together without the use of mortar. The last major city is Ollantaytambo. This architectural site is the most unique due to its size and blocks. These large blocks were moved from another mountain, across the plain, and a river to get to the city. Today, it's still a mystery as to how blocks at such a large size were maneuvered to make such intricate buildings.
The availability of water played a major role in the planning of building a large city. Oftentimes, much of the water supply began with a natural underground spring, which was then used and manipulated to be able to care for the needs of anywhere from 300 to 2,000 people. In several cities, there were stone water collection systems built into the sides of the hills and mountains, which were able to collect the runoff and underground water as it fell down the mountainside. From there, water would reach the rest of the city by draining into a singular fountain, often thought of as the main fountain, which connected to many small stone canals built into the ground. The water from the main fountain would travel through the stone canals, each of which would end in a secondary fountain, with an aqueduct jet with a stone basin at the bottom. Water jugs, called arroyo, could be filled with water from the aqueduct jet or with water from the basin. Surprisingly, water in the major Inca cities was very pure because almost all of the water originated in a natural spring. The most well-studied water supply system is the system of Machu Picchu, which consists of one main fountain and 15 secondary fountains, which could supply water to up to 1,000 people at a time. It is very likely that cities were planned out based on where the best water supply would be. In many of the major cities where there is a complex water supply system, there is also a correlation between the proximity of a certain fountain and the socio-economic status of the people that lived in the area around that fountain. Often, the social elite and priests would be in the closest proximity to the best fountains and public baths. Temples and religious buildings were often built next to the main fountain, such as the Temple of the Sun in Machu Picchu, or the elaborate decorative fountains and ceremonial water canals built for temple use in the Inca city of Choqquequirau.
What's with the chimp and the bug? Can we get that?
These stratified systems led to other technological advances. Textiles and clothing became symbols of social status, and as a result, weaving became the second most important economic activity after agriculture. Pottery and metal adornments also became a source of social power. The Incas used special methods to make the pottery especially durable and of high quality, and also invented systems to increase the scale of production and widespread distribution of metals. The highlands of the Incan Empire had very distinct rainy and dry seasons. This required the Incas to develop a storage system that would allow them to maintain a steady food supply throughout the entire year. These storage systems were called colcas, and the Incas would fill them with a harvest crop that was not immediately consumed. The distribution of resources called for an administrative system, something that could have led to the stratification of classes in the Incan Empire. The Incas' network of roads and bridges is one of the greatest engineering accomplishments of the New World. Spanning 25,000 miles, the network went through mountains, valleys, rivers, and rock in order to interconnect the capital city of Cusco with the rest of the Incan Empire. Bridges were a crucial breakthrough in technology, making it possible for the Incas to expand to places that were not normally accessible.
The environment unique to the Andes Mountains deeply influenced the lives of the Inca people, who learned to adapt to the climate, elevation, geology, and other conditions. Their innovative technology helped them thrive for centuries, while other Native American cultures never reached the same level of sophistication. Despite their relative success, their technology was no match for the Spanish conquerors with their guns and steel. Their civilization failed, but culture is hard to kill. To this day, one can still find the remnants of this once vast society in both ruins and in the day-to-day lives of their descendants.